Hey, what is up, guys? Star Wars Real Talk here to give you guys my review on the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I saw it on Tuesday, so a few days after release. It was nice to see it back on the big screens. It was fun. Whatever I felt about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie ahead of time, whatever thoughts I had about it, all I could think about the day of going to see the movie was excitement. I felt giddy, to go see Star Wars in a movie theater again. It's like all my kind of fears about Star Wars melted away a little bit. So that was nice. Um, this video might be a bit of a hot take because I've only started to see what other people are saying about the movie. I tried to keep my perspectives authentic and my own. Sometimes when you start taking in all this media from other people's opinions, it starts to shape your own, right? So I was trying to keep this authentic to what my views were on the movie. So let's do it. Bit of a hot take. I think it was a W for Star Wars. That being said, it was very safe, right? So I was I was thinking, how do I frame this in terms of spoilers? But there's no spoilers because the movie didn't build on anything really in the Mando universe. I mean, they kind of touch on some characters that we've seen in the past. Not a whole lot. Nothing that really impacts anything. I will say that I enjoyed the world building. You can't deny that that wasn't there, because it was. We got to see some new environments, which is good. We got to see some new characters. And they introduced, I think Rada was like a huge W. That he was a great character, and I loved him. I think that he was like his little character arc and development. I think it was fantastic. That's probably the biggest addition that they had. Mandalorian and Grogu go off on a mission, and it does very much feel like, was this supposed to be a season of the show? Kind of condensed and put into a movie. I saw that Disney had kind of talked to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they were like, hey, we haven't put out a movie in a long time. Is there anything you guys can do? So this is kind of what they threw together. It was fun. I'll say that. I know that's kind of what the headlines have all been. It's a fun movie. Yeah, it was a fun, safe movie. It was very entertaining. The fights were all choreographed very well. It was visually pleasing. The sound effects were really good. Hearing the sound effects in the movie theater was incredible. Also, since I had my eye surgery, this was my first movie that I've seen with the 3D glasses that I could actually wear. Like, I used to always wear them over my glasses, and it always kind of sucked. So that was kind of cool. Not related to the movie, though. But back to my point from earlier. Yes, it wasn't super risky. They didn't delve into difficult subjects. There was nothing mysterious or deep about it, regarding the Jedi or the Force or anything like that. It was a bounty hunting movie. And I think that is maybe a bit of a hot take again. But I think that is what the movie needed to be. The best part, in my opinion, about The Mandalorian was seeing this cool bounty hunter bounty hunt, right? That's kind of like what we kind of hoped the Boba Fett show would be, or something like that. Like season 1 of Mandalorian, seeing him go off and get bounties, like, I missed that. When the show started evolving into something greater and larger, I would think back fondly to when Mando would just bounty hunt, and in the movie he gets hunted by another bounty hunter, and there's kind of layers to it. He gets caught a couple times, but he also catches a couple bounties. The arena fight was really fun. Anytime there's an arena fight, it's good. I caught in the theater, I'm like, these aliens look really familiar. I was thinking that. I'm like, they kind of look like the chessboard aliens from like the Millennium Falcon. And I looked it up on my way home, and I'm like, yeah, they were. That was kind of cool. That's like a good way of doing an Easter egg that isn't like, hey guys, you remember Ahsoka? You remember Cad Bane? You remember Boba? And just like I was so scared this movie was just going to be full of Dave Filoni jingling his keys as usual, right? I'm very proud of him. He didn't do it. He didn't just throw a bunch of fan service at us. There was actually a bit of a story there, and it was a small story, and it was tight-knit, and I think that was good. I think the fact that they didn't dabble into anything, they didn't risk anything, some people are upset about that, they're complaining about it. I think it's good. I think we need to go see Star Wars movies, and they need to not disappoint us. We need to not be questioning it on our way home. Was this good? Was this not good? Were there things? It's nice to walk out and be like, yeah, that was entertaining. Why do we watch Star Wars? To be entertained, to escape from our lives, to envelop ourselves into the universe. And that's what the movie did. So I think, say what you will about plot or complexity, it was safe, it was fun, it didn't hurt the universe. At this point, that's what we need. We need things that are not going to damage it further, because we're all jaded and on edge about new Star Wars stuff. And we need to see things that prove us that, hey, they're not going to just constantly destroy it. They're not going to constantly break canon. They're not going to constantly, I don't know, do fake out deaths or introduce characters that we know and love and then butcher them, right? They're capable of putting together a piece of media that is like, you know, it passes by and no harm, no foul. I think I'm okay with that. Honestly, I need my faith to be restored. I would rather them play, like, again, hot take, I would rather them play it safe and start to accumulate some W's, start to rebuild the brand, start rebuilding people's confidence. Like, yeah, you could call it damage control. It is. Call it safe. But it's also a bit of a step in the right direction. And I would rather see one pretty good Star Wars movie every couple years, or, you know, than some half-assed show that's just full of nothing. You know, it's just scraped off the sidewalk and thrown into your Disney Plus membership. And, you know, and people are at each other's throats about it. You know, I'm done with that. I would rather go back to movies, if I'm being honest, or if you're going to do TV shows, put more time into them. The point is, it's so easy to go on other tangents. The point is, I think the movie was, it was a W. It was safe. I don't know if me talking about it this way is even a good thing. You know, like, is it bad that I'm settling for safe and fun? Maybe that is bad. But, you know, that's where we're at, you know, and we can't pretend that it's going to be anything more than it is. So I think it was a step in the right direction, and I don't think I have anything else to say on that. It was nice that it wasn't just fan service, and that's all I was worried about. I was worried it was going to be fan service, it was going to break lore. As far as Mando and Grogu, like the characters, like the movie, there was not a lot of depth there. Yes, they have a special bond. We get it, you know. Nothing special happened in this movie that hasn't already happened. They've already kind of tried to give them a special arc and development and say goodbye, and then they undid it to bring Grogu right back. All the progress they had made has been discarded, and now they're just the fun little cash cow duo. I get that. I'm not expecting anything more from that. So when I went into this movie, I wasn't expecting to see their relationship grow or deepen. It was just kind of more of the same. But like I said, it was a fun ride. The journey they went on was good. It was funny. It was believable. Funny. The humor was good. It wasn't cheesy. Like, yeah, a little cheesy, but a little cheesy is good sometimes. You know, there were moments in the movie that I laughed out loud, and I was like, yes, this isn't force. This doesn't feel like they're shoehorning in an agenda into their jokes. It was like, this is funny. You know, the Babu Frick guys, they were funny. Their little jokes was, you know, Mando, Grogu clunking his head into the tree. It was funny. It was safe. You know, they weren't trying too hard. And, yeah, I think that's where I'll leave it. If I have more thoughts on it in the future, I will talk about it. I do also acknowledge the fact that since I saw it a few days ago, it's still kind of fresh. Sometimes these things take time for opinions to develop. You know, after I watched the Kenobi show, I thought it was pretty good, and then the time passed and it settled in, and I was like, okay, I'm in denial. But I don't know if that's the case this time around. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. What did you think? Please let me know in the comments. And we'll catch you guys next time. May the Force be with you.